One of the things people get wrong about Australia all the time is the wildlife. When it comes to the spiders, crocodiles, snakes and poisonous frogs you see on social media, there are actually not that many that you will encounter most of the time. Especially if you're in the cities or in more busy and dense areas, you almost never see some of those poisonous animals in general. Yes, I know Australia has the most poisonous animals in the world and snakes that can kill you in seconds or a few minutes. Wild stuff, I know, but it gets put into the extreme on social media all the time. And it's actually not like that when you're traveling here or living here at all. Unless in certain areas or rural towns in the outbacks, it's different there, alright? But in the majority of the places that people go to, you don't see any of it. If you see wildlife, don't touch it, don't feed it, don't go too close to it. If you see a snake or a spider, don't freak out, everything is alright. Just don't push them in the corner or make them need to defend themselves and you should be fine. Just because a beach looks empty and calm doesn't mean you can just go and swim in it without any caution or thought of it. There can be all kinds of hidden dangers that you need to be aware of. Even if you're a good swimmer, it's an empty beach and the water is clear and calm, it doesn't always mean that it is safe to swim there. It does mean that you need to be cautious now at every beach and you shouldn't go swimming, but look at the signs, look if there are some flags on the beach and if it is patrolled. If there are some flags, swim in between the flags so there are some swimmers or some rescue teams that can help you if something is happening. There can be some rips in the ocean that can be invisible. And the weather in some areas in Australia, depending on the season, can change very quickly. So if you're swimming out too far and the weather changes, you might have a hard time coming back. Just because a beach is empty and doesn't look harmful at all, check online first, look at signs and be sure that it is a safe spot to swim. Another thing most people get wrong about Australia is it is easy to travel around. People assume that the major places are close to each other, that you can just take a bus, a train, or get with public transports everywhere, and that you can get all of Australia in one short trip. Australia is a gigantic continent and the flights often take several hours. The regional travel often requires a car. The public transports are, let's say, insufficient in a lot of areas. You could almost think like states are several trips and it's better to choose one or two regions that you want to explore at a time rather than everything there is in 1 or 2 weeks, because it's just hard to manage and you will spend a lot of the time on just traveling because it's so far apart. One of the boring things I actually sorted before I started traveling was my travel medical insurance. I had SafetyWing from the first day I left, because when you're moving between countries, filming, traveling, trying to build a life overseas, it didn't want to wait until something goes wrong to think about it. The plan I used is SafetyWing's Nomad Insurance Essential, which is a travel medical insurance, options for travelers and nomads. Depending on the policy, it can help with things like liable medical expenses abroad, emergency medical evacuations, coverage while you move between many countries, and it can also include travel-related things like lost luggage and travel days. For me, it is more about the travel side of being overseas and having something practical set up before you need it. So if you want to check it out, you can scan the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description. Read the policy details yourself and make sure it fits your own trip. Another thing most people get wrong is the weather in Australia. A lot of people think it's always hot, beach vibes, shorts, easygoing and walking barefoot maybe. But there isn't a permanent summer. There are cold periods as well. Apart from that, the climate can be very different depending on the city or state you're in. For example, Tasmania can feel rather cold. Perth and Darwin could feel rather hot. Brisbane could be a bit more humid. It's not one big country where there's one big climate or one kind of section of clothes you could bring to. You could prepare for completely different experiences depending on when and where you go. In the end, try to really think of where you're going and then pack your clothes accordingly. A lot of people think that if they have seen Melbourne and Sydney, that they have seen the whole country. You shouldn't judge Australia just on those two experiences or cities. There is so much more to see. The reality is that there are completely different climates. There are completely different lifestyles and feel of life in the cities. The rural area or the outbacks have a very unique touch to them especially. I recommend to not just go to major cities, go to some smaller regions as well to get a better taste of the full picture. What I want to say is Australia is very diverse, much more than people think of. People think Australians are laid back, and that's why the rules and regulations and laws that there are relaxed too. But that's definitely not the case. Yes, it's true, Australians are very laid back, walking barefoot, and are just easy to talk to, but they still have their laws and you should follow them. So often the assumption is if you're doing small mistakes, they could be ignored or they won't bother. What it comes back to, when you're coming to Australia or moving from one state to the other, definitely think of the border rules and things that you can bring into and out of the country. Definitely read all the signs carefully and try to get in the local regulations beforehand if there are some specific ones. For example, for national parks or other stuff where there is an environment with wildlife and animals. Everyone thinks Australia is expensive. And don't get me wrong, there are a couple of things that truly are expensive. Accommodations can be expensive, food can be expensive, but that's not everything. There is much more to it. There are a lot of public beaches, national parks that are completely free. There are public facilities that are excellent. For example, all the public toilets are for free. It's not like in Europe where you need to pay. There are like a lot of showers near the beaches or in general that you can use for free as well. There are some barbecue places where you can grill near like some beaches, for example, or if there is like a park. So you can definitely spend a lot of money here, but if you're focusing more on the nature and wildlife, you can often get that done by almost next to nothing sometimes. Apart from all of that, you don't need to tip here. If you want to and it was an exceptional experience or something, go for it. That's not a problem. But you don't need to do it. The assumption that people often have is that if you want to encounter wildlife or that you want to have a national park, animal encounters, you need to go very far away with a car and spend hours getting there. But actually wildlife is often very close to suburbs. There are a lot of national parks that are sometimes in the cities or very close to them. You can get there in 1.5 hours with public transport sometimes. And the native animals appear quite often and in normal life too. Look beyond what is in the city centers. There is so much to do in most of the states in Australia. And don't forget, respect the animals and their space. Don't go too close to them, don't feed them, and don't put them in the corner. Because even if it's a kangaroo, you shouldn't treat it like it is a cat or a dog. You will see sooner or later a bunch of kangaroos in Australia. It's almost impossible to miss. There are often dolphins and whales, depending on where you are, close to the beaches as well. Like I saw now, I think 1 or 2 whales live. I was like once skydiving in Rottnest Island and I literally saw a whale swimming while I was like paragliding down. A lot of visitors think of this extreme narrative. Super poisonous animals that kill me in minutes, or it's unaffordable and I can never do this. But Australia is a much more ordinary place than most people think. And if you get a better understanding about the space it has, the travel times, maybe not try to get everything done here in Australia by once, and just come more often, because it's a great place. If you want to see more about Australia from my channel, look at these two videos.